All right, so now with Valentine's Day coming up, I think on Friday, we look at the trends and especially what kind of food should one serve on Valentine's Day. We have in studio with us now Mbali Mapholi. She is a consultant dietitian at Potatoes South Africa. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. Look at everyone in studio smiling the moment I mentioned Valentine's Day.
It's love. It does that.
It's love. Hey? Love is beautiful indeed. All right, so the day is usually associated with being romantic, one could say. And I think the question really is, how do you get or become romantic, but also eating healthy at the same time?
That's a good question. I think the first thing to mention is that we should be, it's Valentine's Day, so it's a time for love and enjoying each other's company. So sometimes it helps not to fixate yourself on food as gifts or activities that you want to do on Valentine's Day. They don't have to be involving food. It could be other things that are not food related. But when you're trying to be healthy, there are ways of doing it. There are ways of making sure that as much as you're spoiling your loved one, you don't give them a chocolate and they're like, oh, he doesn't love me.
That's what everyone thinks of. I mean, if you talk Valentine's Day, people think, okay, chocolates.
Chocolates, yeah, but there's a lot of other gifts that you can give. For example, seeds and nuts. You can give somebody a nice bottle that is nicely decorated, that have seeds and nuts because they're packed with zinc and L-arginine, which are amino acids that is fantastic for sexual health, making sure that blood flows to the right places. So, and also flowers are a nice gesture, but also what you can do is gift them with a meal delivery service. There are a lot of meal delivery services where it's not cooked food, but it's a box that has food, that has a recipe and ingredients, and in that way they can, enjoy a glass of red wine while preparing that food. You can do it together, or you can send it to them. They can do it on their own. But it's a matter of just thinking outside the box a little bit, outside chocolate, outside foods that, when you give a lady, they might even feel offended.
Outside teddy bears.
Oh, yeah.
Mugs, coffee mugs.
Like coffee mugs and, oh, no. These days, people put faces on a coffee mug. And I'm like, no,
please
don't.
And also, just now when I was busy with my makeup, one of our makeup artists was saying that, listen, I want flowers with some 200 Rand notes in those flowers.
Yes, I've seen a picture like that on Instagram at some point. And that is fantastic because it's just outside food. But then the person can take that money and go buy what they want. But of course, if you don't have, you can make it 10 Rands, obviously, if you don't have 200 Rand notes. But it's just the thought that counts around that. So when you look into food again, it's not, how can I put it? There is, as I said, there's a variety of foods that you can bring for a person.
All right, so let's talk to someone who's already planning a surprise, a dinner for their partners for the day. How should they go about making sure that whatever they're going to put on the menu, from the starters to dessert, is healthy?
Yes, I think over and above healthy, Balesa, we can talk about aphrodisiacs. The foods that get things going the right way, because there's variety of foods that if you eat, they are associated with improving your sexual health, but also improving your blood circulation. So for example, the meal itself, the mains could be like a piece of salmon. I know salmon is pricey, but it's a day of of celebration. Have a piece of salmon that is high in omega-3, and that's good for blood circulation. And then on the starch or the whole grain part, have baby potatoes, for example, that are nicely roasted. I don't know a person who can say no to roast potato. Have that nicely roasted baby potatoes with the skin, and then half of your plate is then your vegetables, because vegetables needs to be the bulk of our food. In that way, you've given a person a good, luxurious plate of food that is both healthy and really, affordable. And then when you are looking into starters, you can add dark chocolate as a type of a dessert that is containing dark chocolate. The higher the percentage of cocoa in dark chocolate, the better, because cocoa contains antioxidants and also that are very important for sexual health. But then the choice of drink that you're choosing is also important. Instead of going for maybe a high sugary soft drink or something else, maybe rather go for red wine, because again, we know that it has got polyphenols that are also important for our sexual health and heart health, and amongst other things.
Yeah. So you made a point that you're not just looking for healthy food, but also something affordable.
Yes. The biggest thing about nutrition is that it needs to be nourishing, enjoyed. So whatever that you're eating, you must be enjoying, but also affordable and accessible. In a country that we're living in, whereby we are faced with food insecurity and poverty, we need to always speak affordability. And the foods that are affordable are the ones that people can easily access. So let's say, for example, we're comparing kale and spinach. Kale and spinach is easily accessible because it's all over. You can literally grow it in your backyard, by most of the time. But kale on the other side, especially Russian kale, which is common in our retail shops these days, is quite pricey. Yes, you can grow it in your backyard, but it's not something that we are used to yet. So those type of conversations when it comes to food are very important because it's affordability, accessibility, nourishment, and enjoyment. So we cannot say I'm only eating for nutrition. You need to think of those factors as well.
Yeah, indeed. The issue of affordability is always a thorny one for me when I go on diet, because the only thing that works for me is Benting, and Benting is quite expensive.
It is quite
breakfast
expensive.
To dinner is very expensive.
So the trick there, I agree, Benting can be expensive, but also get somebody to help you, like a dietitian, to plan it better. Now that you've chosen Benting, there are ways of making sure that it is like it's affordable for your pocket. So when you look into the type of high-fat foods that you'll be eating, if you sit with a dietitian, they will be asking you, okay, Palesa, can you afford this? Can you afford that? Looking into your economic status as well, and then be able to advise that, oh, it is as good enough as the alternative that is pricey if you choose this. So really get help with that. Getting help with that is very important as well.
All right. So additional tips perhaps before we conclude, because February is also a Healthy Lifestyles Awareness Month.
Yes. So Healthy Lifestyle Awareness Month is over and above nutrition. I think most of the time we think about nutrition as a healthy lifestyle, but there is a lot of other things. For example, your mental health. You know, what do you do to relax? Do you self-care Sundays type of a thing? Put a face mask on, lie on a bath with some bubble bath, those type of things.
Do we even have the time?
I know, but we need to
We're
slow
so busy,
down.
we don't have the time.
We need to slow down. Your spiritual health as well. What do you do? How do you feed that spiritual need? We look into alcohol, moderation. Consuming alcohol in moderation is important. Tobacco use is also another way of improving your life. The biggest thing when it comes to healthy lifestyle is that do not try to change everything in one go. Just choose a couple of bits and pieces, just like nibble it a little bit, and in that way you are able to adopt what Kanye West called live it, things that you are able to live with for the rest of your life, instead of just living it with it now and then tomorrow you can't.
It's gone. Listen,
it.
time constraints. We have to go to Centurion now, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Mbali Mapholi is a consultant dietitian at Potato South Africa, telling us what to eat and what not to eat on Valentine.